You may not have heard of Reptilian Disc Golf, but you've almost certainly heard of one of their discs that took the internet by storm, the Stego. But what happens when a disc becomes an internet sensation? And has Reptilian Disc Golf found success beyond the Stego? These are our first impressions. Hey everyone, it's Greg from Six Sided Discs. Huge thanks to Reptilian Disc Golf for sending us these discs to test. Make sure you watch until the end to find out how you can win this stack of discs. Now, when we make these videos, I spend quite a bit of time doing research, digging as deep as I can into the history of the company, the discs, where they're made, and so on. And while I learn a lot, I'm usually not too surprised by the things I learn. But in the case of Reptilian Disc Golf, I was shocked to find out that they've been around since 2013. And the disc that they're most known for, the Stego, wasn't released until 2016. So where did Reptilian Disc Golf come from? And where are they now? Let's find out. Reptilian Disc Golf's website was not really giving too many clues to their origins, but their Facebook page went all the way back to 2013. It turns out Reptilian Disc Golf started much like Six Sided Discs did as a retail business, selling other brands' discs with their own custom stamps. In fact, many of their custom stamps were quite clever. They created reptile versions of popular stamps, including the Lizard Wizard from Gateway, the Bigger Bird Rock from Innova, and the Discraft Reptilian Buzz. In November of 2014, Reptilian decided to partner with Gateway Discs to begin manufacturing their own line of discs, and introduced their first disc soon after with the Scale. The Scale is a 2103 putter with a deep rim, big bead, and a very shallow thumb track. And it flies just as overstable as advertised, if not more so. While I'm not a big fan of really deep discs like this, I do love the feel of the tar pit plastic, which is both stiff but grippy. They followed the Scale up soon after with another putter, the Serpent, rated at 2200. Interestingly, the Serpent uses the exact same top mold as the Scale, but uses a different bottom. Instead of the chunky bead to create overstability, the Serpent has a more aerodynamic, beadless rim that gives it the same minimal glide, but a much straighter flight. Reptilian saw mild success from the release of their first two discs, and looking to build on that, decided to partner with yet another manufacturer, Daredevil Discs. Daredevil would help them manufacture their next two discs, the Taro, a straight fairway driver, and the Velociraptor, a glidey, overstable fairway driver. While the partnership with Daredevil may have failed to create much of a lasting impact, their partnership with Gateway blossomed and created perhaps one of the biggest internet sensations disc golf has seen, with the release of the Stego in 2016. The Stego has a very unique shape, with a blunt nose and a raised edge, as well as a beaded rim, and with flight numbers of 4014, it claims to be quite overstable. But no, it is actually hilariously overstable. The Stego is one of those discs that disc golf YouTube channels just couldn't get enough of, from Iceberg TV to Drew Gibson, Ezra Aderhold, and so many more. The Stego's overstability is almost a precursor to what we saw from the craze of the Discmania Tilt or the Discraft Zone OS. And similarly to both of those discs, the harder you try to throw the Stego, the more overstable it gets. So much like a band after a hit single, how do you follow up that kind of success? Well, sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. Later in 2016, Reptilian released the Tyrant, a more overstable T-Bird style 7-speed. But based on their current order form options, the Tyrant is not currently in production. 2017 would see Reptilian release another new disc, the Gila. The Gila is a mid-range with a curved wing and a big bead with a somewhat similar design to an Innova Rock. Compared to the Stego, the Gila at least has workable overstability. We recorded these shots on a windy day, but I would trust the flight numbers of 5403 in just about any conditions. That being said, I'm not the biggest fan of the plastic, which you would compare most closely to Gateway's diamond plastic. It's a semi-translucent plastic with minimal grip and just a little bit of flexibility. While Reptilian's Facebook page still appeared quite active, there would be a 5-year gap without any new molds, including 2020 and 2021 as the pandemic was in full swing. By mid-2022, however, Reptilian Disc Golf was back. Perhaps ready to capitalize on the growth of disc golf during and after the pandemic, they began by introducing what is classified as their only distance driver, the Chameleon. Weirdly though, it isn't their fastest disc. At 8.5, 5, -1.2, it's perhaps the most workable disc we've seen so far. The Chameleon has a surprisingly chunky rim for an 8.5 speed disc. In fact, it feels more like a 10 or 11 speed disc because of the depth, but nevertheless, it flies pretty good. If you get the angle just right, you can get a nice flip to flat and slight turn before a reliable fade. However, if you don't get the angle just right, it can actually fly very overstable. Like the Tyrant, the Taro, and Velociraptor are no longer available from Reptilian. So to replace the Velociraptor's overstability, Reptilian introduced the Komodo. The Komodo is rated at 9.303, only half a speed faster than the Chameleon, but somehow feels way bigger in the hand. It also has a bead, which is not particularly normal for a driver. I think the best thing that we can say about the Komodo is that the flight numbers do seem accurate. It doesn't have a ton of glide, but it does have a ton of fade. Compared to the last 5 years, 2022 would turn out to be a busy one, following up the Komodo with the release of the Iguana. The Iguana is a straight mid-range, rated at 5.5, -1, 1.5. And similar to the scale and Serpent we saw earlier, shares part of its mold with another disc. This time, instead of the same top mold, the Iguana has the exact same bottom mold as the Gila. In fact, when you first feel them, it's hard to tell the difference. But the Iguana is just slightly more aerodynamic on the top of the mold. Now this whole half mold business doesn't seem like it would have a huge impact on the flight of the disc, but you might be surprised. Side by side, the Iguana holds straight much longer than the Gila, and also has a less aggressive fade. However, the Iguana can be a little bit touchy. If you overpower it or give it a little too much anhyzer, it can easily turn over and roll. I have to say, my first impression of Reptilian Disc Golf is one of mixed feelings. Firstly, there's no denying that a disc like the Stego is fun to throw and fun to watch. And I'll say the plastic of the Scale and Serpent feels great, especially in contrast to some of their premium plastics. But if I'm being honest, I think I'm having a very similar reaction to Reptilian discs as I have had with Gateway. You see, Gateway makes one of the most popular putters in disc golf, the Wizard, and they make it in a variety of really popular plastics, like Eraser, Super Silly Soft, or Pure White. But you would be hard-pressed to find many people that are huge fans of Gateway's premium plastics, or really any of their other discs. With the Wizard, Gateway is essentially one of disc golf's biggest one-hit wonders. Unfortunately for Reptilian, the viral excitement of the Stego may only have raised the profile of the Stego, rather than that of Reptilian itself. But I'm sure there's some people out there that really like Reptilian discs, so if you'd like to win this stack of discs, all you need to do is like the video, subscribe to our channel, and leave a comment down below about what is your favorite Reptilian disc. For Six Sided Discs, I'm Greg. We'll see you in the next one. You may not have heard, and the disc that they're nost? In November of 2014, Reptilian made the decision to take the Chameleon what did I just say? Bellatrix, the disc is called Serpent. I need you on it for like half a second. feel cool. And blue. If you like this content and want to see more, please consider liking the video, subscribing to our channel, or supporting us on Patreon. Your support makes this content possible.